flashlight used. It had markings on the side, but she can't tell you what those markings were.
Okay, can you put her on the phone for a moment and tell me her
Okay.
name?
Okay, this is my daughter, my 16-year-old daughter, Carissa Young. My 13-year-old daughter, Olivia Young, was also a witness.
Okay,
Here's Carissa.
all right. Carissa?
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing? My name is Mr. Kamau, and I'm a retired police officer. And I'm going to ask you just a couple of quick questions. And if you can't remember, just tell me you can't remember. But if you do recall, try to give me precise answers, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Now, you were pulled over the other night by a police officer, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you able to tell what color uniform he was wearing?
It was either dark blue or black. The lights weren't on, so I
Okay.
couldn't really tell.
Okay, and I got the way that the stop happened. Let me just go over it based on what your mother told me. You were driving the other night, and the police officer got behind you, pulled you over. He sat there for a while. You didn't know if he was actually pulling you over because he didn't get out of the car. You started to leave. He then reactivated his traffic lights, got out of the car, and then began yelling at you and using profanity.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is that basically what happened?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so far as you know, had you committed any traffic violation at this point?
No, sir.
Okay. And if I were to ask your sister and your other passenger what happened, they would tell me the same thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you were driving, did you do anything that would draw the officer's attention? Were you speeding? Did you swerve? Did you do anything unusual?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, when he came up to the car and had such a hostile attitude, how did that make you feel, and did you expect him to talk to you in that manner?
No, sir. I thought she was gonna be nice, but then I saw he had his gun out of his little holster, and he was standing at an angle with a flashlight in my face, so I got kind of scared. I didn't know
Now,
what he was going to do because I didn't think that officers were allowed to withdraw their gun from their holster unless they were being threatened or
okay, now,
scared.
how old were the girls in the car?
The girl that was in the passenger seat is 16. My little sister Olivia is 13. She was in the back with my cousin Cheyenne, and Cheyenne's 15.
Okay, so it was four girls in the car?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and did any of you have any sort of weapons or anything that would give an officer any reason to be afraid?
No, sir.
Okay, was anyone angry or yelling at the officer or threatening him in any way?
No, sir.
So no one threatened him and no one had any weapons?
No, sir.
Okay, were there any drugs or anything, beer, anything illegal in the car?
No, sir.
Okay, so you guys are four young ladies traveling across town, minding your own business. You haven't committed a traffic violation, and this officer pulled you over from Deer Lake, and I'm sorry, Deer Park, and became very hostile without any reason. Is that basically what happened?
Yes, sir.
Now, I want you to use the exact language. I know it's uncomfortable, but use the exact words and tell me what he said to you that you found offensive.
He told me that I was driving with my head at my ass, and then asked me how old I was, how old are you, and told me that I was colorblind and that I was lying to him.
He accused you of being colorblind for what reason?
Because I told him, he said, I said, do I know what I did wrong? I don't think I did anything wrong. And he said, I almost T-boned you. You ran that red light. And I said, no, I didn't, sir. I waited at the light till it turned green. And he said, are you effing lying to me? Are you colorblind? Stop driving with your head up your ass.
Okay, and what else did he say that was offensive,
Um,
if anything?
Nothing other than that.
Okay, so he said you were driving with your head up your ass
Yes, sir.
and that you were colorblind. And did he say anything else that was derogatory, or even if it wasn't a curse word, if it was just anything that was offensive to you, if there's anything else that happened that offended you, tell me if you can recall what that might be. And if there's anything I missed in asking you, then interject it now. So just, walk me through. In fact, do me a favor. Go through the incident from the time he got up to the car and the first bad words that he used, and then tell me all the way to the end what the last thing was that he said to you.
Okay, I was going down St. Augustine. I stopped at the red light at Center. The light turned green, so I proceeded to go down St. Augustine. Then a car pulled up behind me, and I didn't realize it was a cop car until he started shining his spotlight on me. He put on my license plate and then started flashing it in all my mirrors. So the light was reflecting off the mirrors and in my eyes, and I couldn't see that well. So I took a left on Joe Scott Cassie Avenue, and that's the street that one of my friends, I was taking Brian home that night. It was like 11:15, so I wasn't out past curfew. I wasn't playing loud music. My windows were up. I wasn't doing anything wrong. So I got kind of scared, wondering why is the cop pulling me over. It's late at night, and I haven't done anything wrong. So I stopped, and he continued to shine his spotlight on me, and he flipped his sirens on for a split second, and I waited in the car for a couple of minutes with my window down, and he didn't get out of the car, and he turned his lights off. He didn't do anything, so I was like, okay, well, maybe he's not pulling me over, maybe he just wanted to run my plates. So I put my car back in drive, and I pulled forward maybe a foot or two, and he flipped his siren back on, but turned it right back off. It was just for like a split second. And so I stopped. I rolled down my window again, put my hands on my steering wheel, and my car was in park. And I waited for him to get out of the car for maybe a minute. And then he came to my window with his gun pulled out and his flashlight in my face, standing at an angle to where I couldn't really see the markings on his uniform or his name tag.
What was his gun pointed at you or towards the ground or where?
He had it in his hand pointed towards the ground, but it was out of his holster.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and continue.
And I said, he didn't say anything when he walked up, so I said, is there a problem, sir? And he said, well, why don't you tell me? And I said, well, I don't know what I did wrong. And then that's when he asked me, are you colorblind? And I said, no, sir. He said, well, are you lying to me? Are you telling me that I'm colorblind? I said, no, sir. And then he asked me how old I was, and I said 16.
And one more question. Were you speaking to him the way you're talking to me, yes, sir, no, sir, the same way?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you sound very polite and well-mannered, and I just wanted to know if that's the way you were treating him.
Yes, sir. I was very polite and nice, and I didn't have a tone or an attitude or anything.
Okay, go ahead and continue from that point.
Okay, so then he said, are you lying to me? And I said, no, sir. And he asked me how old I was, and I said 16. And he didn't ask me for my license or insurance or anything. So it was kind of like, well, maybe he just wanted to know where I was going because it's kind of late, and he thought that I was apparently young, making sure that I wasn't doing anything wrong. So then he said, well, you're lying to me. Stop lying to me. I said, no, I'm not, sir. And he said, you're driving with your head up your ass. And I said, I'm sorry, sir. And he said, well, you need to get where you're going. Where are you going? And I said, I'm taking my friend home. And then he asked, where does she live? And I was like, 2 streets in front of us. And he said, well, I almost T-boned you. You ran that red light. And I said, okay, because I wasn't going to argue with him because he had his gun out. And
right.
I didn't, want to get shot for not doing anything wrong. And he proceeded again to tell me that I was colorblind, and that I needed to not drive with my head up my ass. And I said, yes, sir. And then he said, do I need to call Deer Park out? And I said, no, sir. And he said, well, if I need to, I will, if you're going to be rude. And I said, no, sir, because I wasn't being rude, and I wasn't going to start being rude because I didn't want any trouble. And then he said, well, just don't drive with your head up your ass and get where you're going. And I said, yes, sir. And he said, I'll let you off on a warning, okay? And I said, yes, sir. And then he once again said, don't drive with your head up your ass. And then just walked off.
Okay. Now, the one question I have for you is, did he say that he was going to call Deer Park out, or he would call Deer Park out?
He said that he would call Deer Park out if he needed to, and then ask me if I wanted him to.
Okay. And Deer Park is the local police department in the area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Can you put your mom back on the phone, please?
Yes, sir. Here she is.
Thank you.